Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wild Earth Safari this morning. This is Djuma Game Reserve, and my name is Mark. Becky's on camera with me this morning, and Craig in final control. We're about to head out on our morning safari. We're already here on Gallagher Shortcut. We're considerable distance already on the shortcut, and I thought we'd try and get here early to listen because there was a lot of elephant activity. We are almost, I'd say, northwest. We saw movement. It was a bird. There was a lot of activity between here and our camp late yesterday afternoon and last night. A lot of elephant activity. I'm actually standing on some tracks, elephant tracks. And by the looks of things, well, I'm on quite a slope. Looks like there was even an elephant lying down here, maybe one of the youngsters. But there was so much commotion going on that I thought there was either a similar incident to what we witnessed the other day with elephants mating or something else. Very difficult to try and understand what the elephants were shouting about, but there was a number of elephants screaming and trumpeting, and well, it's pretty quiet now, and it has been quiet all night, but I thought maybe we'd see this herd or find out where they went to. We're going to continue up Gallagher Shortcut and go around onto Buffelshoek Cutline and head, I know we might go west a little bit first, but we're going to head east eventually on Buffelshoek Cutline. We haven't been around Buffelshoek Dam much lately, so I thought what we'd do is we'd head up that way and we'd spend some time this morning in that part of the world. Let's go for a drive and see what is happening in this part of the world. Quite a bite in the air this morning. Rather chilly. A lot of elephant dung now, fresh dung from a big one. A lot of zebra too. The zebra on top of the elephant, so I wonder if we take an elephant went that way. Take the long way around. Let's see what we can find on the radio from what happened yesterday afternoon. Morning, Donna. I think Donna asked this question and I didn't get around to it yesterday. Donna was asking, perhaps a question that some of you might ask as well, how many miles we travel on average every day. Depends. It does depend. Depends on what we see. I mean, sometimes when we're not seeing much, and I'm guessing that a cold morning, I guess it's really chilly. There might not be too much out until later on in the morning, until the sun's welling up and warming the ground. But actually, it's not that many miles. I mean, anything from 1 mile to maybe 5 at the most. I don't think we'd ever really cover more than 5 miles, 8 kilometers. Let's do what I normally do around here, and that is do a quick trip down to Sydney's Dam, because it's always an important part of the world, this kind of like a bottle. See already big leopard tracks heading east. Oh. Kind of like a bottleneck coming in from Manyaleti, Buffelshoek, Manyaleti, and then it comes in, breaks sort of the area, comes into the Sabi Sand, and Sydney's Dam, there's quite a lot of activity. But now I'm just thinking we're wasting time if this leopard's going the other way. Excuse me, Francolins. Running your little hearts out. You do have wings, you know. Okay. How about you go off to the left and I'll just... How about you go off to the right and I'll just go... How about you two run off down Aubrey's Road and I'll go straight. There we go. I preferred that idea. Speaking of Aubrey's Road, has anything come out of that? It's just leopard. Prominent leopard tracks. Oh, this is an interesting question from 8-year-old Emma. Morning, Emma, and Richard and Lisa. Do you ever get out of the car to pet the animals? Part of the question. And then also, do I consider myself a nature enthusiast or a conservationist? I'd consider myself a conservationist and a naturalist. I wouldn't call myself an enthusiast. I think I'm a little bit more enthusiastic than an enthusiast. I'm a little bit passionate and obsessive about nature, so I'd call myself a naturalist. Nature is my life, it's my passion. And Emma, well, you can't get out and pet the animals. First and foremost, when we're looking at animals, you never have an animal of one species approaching an animal of another species. So, as such, well, when an animal does that, it's only when a lion approaches a kudu or a buffalo to kill it and eat it. And most animals have this thing that they attack as their best form of defense. And because of that, it's not wise to approach any animals. The other side of it is that animals won't let you. I mean, I'll even show you. As soon as we see some animals, I'll get out and I'll try and approach them, and we'll see what they do. Of course, I'm going to only do it with things like giraffe or impala or wildebeest. I'm not going to attempt something like that with a lion or an elephant, because that's really asking for trouble. But I'll show you how much afraid of us they are. And in particular, as a human being, we come across as a predator. So the animals, it doesn't matter what you have in your heart, how much you love the animals. Animals see us as a human, they see us as a predator. It's the way we are built, it's the way we're made. And because of that, the animals will run away from us. And normally there's enough space between me and the animals, if I'm trying to prove that kind of a point, that they will run away, because in that case it's better to run away than to have a confrontation.
And that's the age-old conundrum of fight versus flight. And that is often determined by the distance one is from the animal. Animals have different zones around them. They have like a safety zone. They also have a danger zone, just to sum it up. A lot of animals won't let you in their safety zone, and they would rather flee. They would rather run away when you approach their safety zone. But some animals, much closer to their personal space, they have a danger zone, and it's that danger zone where it changes from flight to fight, where an animal feels it's a lot easier to defend itself because it's so close that running away would just be no good, and that's where an animal is likely to defend itself. And I would tell you that even an impala is likely to do that. But I'm never going to be able to get that close to an impala to be able to prove that point. And I'm also not a member of a particular movie crew who like to do silly stunts and hurt themselves. Well, thank you for your question, Emma. It's school holidays already in California. Summer vacation. I see a red sun rising. It is so far north of Buffels or Cutline to think that. Let's see if we can get to see it. See if we can get to see it. Just going to go back to the fire break, because there's maybe a bit more open ground to see the sun too. Yep. Annette wants to know if anyone saw Karula when we went off air yesterday. No, we were the last ones with Karula, or with the Cubs. There was no one else after that. And I'm still waiting to get radio comms this morning to find out from the guys if anything happened yesterday afternoon, if she was maybe seen. I'm also trying to find a gap in the trees to see the sun that's already cleared the horizon. Gap coming up beyond the termite mound. There we go. Stopping this. Oh, good. Radio's working. Morning stations. Anyone got an update? Thanks, Graham. What about yesterday afternoon? No sign of Karula. Alright, thank you. No sign of Karula. Beautiful shot that. Welcome to Africa, everybody, and welcome to the dawning of our new day. Thursday. We're downhill to summer now. We just hit the solstice. Just 2 day happy solstice, by the way. It was 2 days ago. Fresh Ingwet tracks heading east on Firebreak. Vivian. We're seeing the Franklins running in front of the car. How fast are they running in miles per hour? Well, our speedometer barely registers. I have to tell you that it often looks a lot faster through the camera lens because, well, it just does. I can't tell you why. I'm not a technical person. I'd say barely 5 miles an hour. When I'm driving the Franklin, the thing is that it reaches a point where Franklins would rather fly than run because they can fly faster than they run. I generally try to slow down and let them run off the road. Generally, if you stop, some of them will then move off of the road. But as long as the vehicle is moving, and obviously the faster it's moving, the less chance there is of slowing down to turn off the road. They're going to stay on the road. Excuse me a moment. Cold air. Okay. Most of the time we're driving in second gear. We're not going fast enough to get it into third gear. I hardly ever use a third gear unless I'm in low range. Then I shouldn't really be going into third gear. I don't know where the leopard went. Must have turned in. Tracks aren't on the road anymore. We're going to have to alternate between the Firebreak and go to the cut line, I think. Looks like this would have been a better one for the sunrise. Would have been nice, but these trees are in the way. Morning, Christy. Christy's asking us about our temperatures now this time of the year. What is typical? I know I mentioned it's cold, and often get ragged about that because we don't know what cold is, excuse me, compared to the cold experienced by northern hemisphere countries or even higher altitude places here in South Africa. There are places in South Africa that get as cold as anywhere else when they places that are at a few thousand feet. We are barely 1,000 feet above sea level, so we don't really get very cold. In Fahrenheit, I'd have to pull out my little calculator somehow, but in Celsius, 5 to 10 degrees is the minimum temperature. That's above zero. 5 to 10 degrees, I would say. Our average minimum for winter. Where we saw the elephant yesterday, and it was the same elephant that then moved further south and got to just north of Gari Dam, where they were making a lot of commotion, a lot of noise, a lot of activity. Another nice shot looking over Tambuti Dam to the sun, and I want to listen for a bit. Also get the orange spots out from in my eyes from looking at the sun. Those are, in the distance, are the crowns of marula trees that have already lost all their leaves. This is also, in the foreground in the left, is also a marula tree. Okay, let us continue. Buffalo's Dam. We're going to go all the way along the main road, I think, for a change. Richard and Lisa Morning again. Elephant question. How do you tell if a female elephant is in estrus? I don't know. I don't have the right olfactory organs to tell. I think it's only bull elephants that can tell. Now, most animals have what is known as the Jacobson's organ, which is a gland in the upper, the back of the palate, I think it is, back of the throat, that picks up the pheromones, especially the estrus pheromones of the female of the species, and it doesn't really work cross species. And that is how most animals tell whether the females are in estrus. Well. A lot of elephants have been here and they've crossed back north. Quite recent too. I'm sure these are all the same elephant. Maybe we're at Gari Dam at some point and then we've come back across this road to the north. Been a lot of activity here. And then Richard and Lisa were asking about the bulls. And the question was, when do they come into rut? Well, for elephant it's not called the rut. Elephant bulls, it's known as must. M-U-S-T-H. See how fresh this is. These leaves haven't even started wilting. These elephants were here only not too long ago. This must have been maybe one of the bigger elephants. Broke this off and has chewed the bark. There's still a little bit of bark here where my fingers are, but big chunks of bark have been taken off. Still wet, very wet. The elephant weren't here too long ago. There was a rhino here as well. Some elephants still wandering along the road backwards and forwards. There might still be one or two up ahead. More tracks coming across to the north. Rhino walking on the road. What's that? Something up ahead, I think. Dark bushes, shaped like animals in the distance. Jody would like to know, hello Jody, any animals crossbreed? Now that is also an interesting question, because theoretically in the wild it's impossible. And it's quite an incredible thing because nature has put these measures in place to prevent crossbreeding. Crossbreeding is a threat to the integrity of a species, and a species as a whole becomes a species through millions of years of trial and error, change, adaptation to change, and the ability to change, the ability to adapt to changes. Not so much change, but adapt to changes. And changes are all brought about by climate and weather, and whether there's drought or whether there's disease, things like that. This is all what drives, or rather has driven, every living thing to be what it is today. And nothing is really in its perfect form because everything is still changing. Everything is still adapting to the changes that are taking place in the planet. And if inbreeding was to be possible, we wouldn't have such a diversity. It would be just, it's almost like, if you look at, no, dogs are a bad example. No, I'm not even going to use an example, but the first thing that prevents inbreeding, and I'm going to pause there because we're going through the dip, and we might just break up in this dip. We'll carry on talking when I'm up on the next rise. Morning, babblers. Family of Arrowmark babblers making a noise. Rhino was still walking on the road. They might also on to the fire break and then back on the road. Now they've gone on to the fire break. So now, the first step that nature has created to prevent inbreeding, or crossbreeding rather, not inbreeding. Inbreeding is another matter entirely. But crossbreeding is that animals have different mating rituals. Especially the birds. The birds, and even fish for that matter, have very intricate mating ritual, mating dances, why they have such bright colors, and why different bird species have different colors and different markings to attract the mate. And that means that the bird of one species won't really attract the mate of another. When I was talking about these fail-safe methods, or rather these backup methods or backup plans, as it were, Rhino were back on the road and back off the road. Let's say hypothetically it does happen, that animal of one species does happen to find the mating ritual, or find a member of the other species attractive enough to go that far. The next step is the fact that, generally speaking, the genitals don't match. No, I'm not going to go in there yet. And that has become such a distinctive difference, in that in some cases with some species, even and I think most notable in some species of primates, that the male genitals become shaped in such a way that they cannot match the genitals of the female of another species, and so each species is restricted to mating with its own species. But if somehow, for some reason, that was to happen, and you do get this crossbreeding of two species, or rather the actual act of elephants. Hello, children. I've got to finish this because that's I've got to do. Just finish it while we're looking at elephants. The sperm and the egg won't match, just in case two animals do manage to get that far. And even then there's a fail-safe, because if the sperm and the egg do match, the resultant offspring becomes sterile. And 99% of the time, the offspring of two different species is a sterile individual, to prevent any further production of that same crossbred animal, and in so doing become a threat to the species, or both species, of the parent species. Having said that, there are crossbred animals, and 99% of them are crossbred because of being in captivity. I'm just going to move forward or back just to get a better view. Oh, we got the little one, okay. Just stay with the little one, with the sun glistening off its forehead. I know there have been lions and tigers and, well, some of the big cats have been interbred, but there have also been birds that have been that have accidentally interbred. There's a big bird park in Cape Town, and they had African spoon bulls crossbreeding with ibises, and they created a spoon-billed ibis. Not intentionally, it just happened because they were stuck in the same cage, and I guess nature got the better, their hormones got the better of them. Here comes a really little one with its mom. Going to be about a year old maybe, but it's still a littly. Oh, and there's big lady at the back of her. Sambi and Love on Buffalo Cut Line, just west of Buffalo Dam at the quarry. Thanks, Jody and Vivian. 5 to 10 degrees Celsius, 40 to 50 Fahrenheit. What I'd like to do, because we got the sun the other way, let's go forward, turn around, and come back so we get the light on them, and we get better light, because we got Ellie's coming out behind us. It's going to be nicer to watch them from the right angle, the sun behind us. Daisy, morning to you. Daisy's asking whether elephant bulls stay with the herd and mate within the same herd. No, Daisy, they don't. Elephant bulls leave the herd when they get into their mid to late teens. Elephant bulls don't have much to do with the family groups. They socialize with them. And they will come back to herds that they've mated with to socialize. Yeah, these rhino tracks are again. Right. Let's see. They're actually going to probably make their way to Buffalo's Dam later today, this morning. They are slowly coming towards me. They heard me. Hello, Mrs. Ellie. Yes, I am naive. No, I'm vain. Hello, Mrs. This is one of the matriarchs, I'm sure. Big old lady. Could have been one of the ladies we saw yesterday. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to go a little bit forward again. Straighten out. There we go. You can watch, she's taking this piece of round leaf teak and she's chewing the bark off, very, very similar to the way a big branch I was holding. Up until the first fork of the branch is where they chew the bark off, and then just lets it drop and the next one goes in the mouth. And gets twisted and turned as she chews the bark off. Takes some control, or it must do, because if they bite too hard, they just bite straight through the branch. Sorry, now I've forgotten what that question was. Elephant bulls. I don't think the matriarchs will let related bulls mate with any of the females within their family unit, and they will invariably choose other bulls that will be allowed to come in and mate with themselves and their daughters, because normally it's the matriarch that has some say in what the bulls do or which bulls come in, preferring to keep younger immature bulls at bay. But they do have a pretty strong sense of family, and they are, oh look at that in the road, beautiful in this morning light, mother and calf. One of the little boys coming out. Hello, little one. Hey. Beautiful sunlight on these elephants. This is an old quarry where sand has been taken out, probably for roads. One of the quarries, I think it's mentioned on the map. But this might give us, look at that beautiful view just from down here. Sally says, morning. These elephants are so grey in colour, and in San Diego they're browner. Yes, Sally, it's all got to do with the colour of the soil. But these elephants, I'd say these elephants are pretty much the colour of elephant, because they're not really taking on much of the colour of the soil here, because some of them have got some sand on their backs, but this is grey of elephant grey. as opposed to elephants that have been rolling in the mud or having dust baths. They do take on the color of the sand. Sometimes you get red elephants where you get a lot of iron in the soil and it oxidizes and becomes reddish soil. Very typical red soil of Africa. What a beautiful sight from here. Except they're moving into thick bush. We might actually just go down to Buffelshoek Dam and sit there and wait for a while. We very seldom do that, where we get to the dam and just sit and observe. I don't know if we can get through here. Should be able to. It's a Land Rover. Morning, Vivian. Looking at the elephants walk. Looks like they have a kneecap in the back of the leg. Is this the front leg? That's the elbow, Vivian. We'll see when one of these ellies come across the road now. But no, it's not a kneecap. It's the elbow, just next to the chest area. Elephants walk on tiptoes, so they've got a very long wrist. She's gonna come behind us. Pretty girl. Making a beeline for the dam. I think she must have just rumbled because the others are starting to move off now. Okay, we'll go to watering time. The young mother. Rushing to cross the road, but that's good because I don't want to race them to the dam. I'd rather be there when they get there, but they're still about 100 yards away, so it might take a little while at the rate that they're feeding. Terry wants to know, morning Terry, how long a giraffe's gestation is. Giraffe's about 14 months, I think, yeah. Christine wants to know if I ever take a day off from doing tours. I guess you mean doing what I'm doing, Christine. Yes, we do. We We work a 6-week stretch and then we take 2 weeks off. And that's why Tara is not here at the moment. Tara's on her off days, her days off, her leave. And then also asking if weather has any influence on whether we do drives or not. Yes, it does. Now in the dry season, in the winter, not likely, but in the summer months we can't go out when it's raining because we have a lot of equipment to be able to broadcast from the vehicle. I mean, most of the vehicle is taken up by broadcast equipment, stuff that's normally used in a studio or in a building, not in an open Land Rover. So when it rains, we can't get any of it wet. We're using a lot of voltage. We've got banks of 12-volt batteries that are hooked up to inverters that step it up from the 12-volt batteries from 12 volts to 220 volts, and that could cause quite a big spark if things get wet. Not to mention what they'll do to the company's bank account. Very expensive stuff. So we tend to be scared of the rain. We're going to go and sit quietly on the other side of the... Well, I don't know. Do we go to the other side? If they come to this side of the dam, we might not see them. So I'm thinking maybe for now... Watch the hippo. I think baby hippos here. I think I've just seen baby hippo. So what I'm going to do is this. Something a little different. Hello, Luann. Any news on Karula and the cubs? Are they safe? Well, as of yesterday morning, they were safe. We saw the cubs yesterday. The other guys saw Karula and cubs. We only saw cubs. See, that might help. No, that's not really going to help. Try this again. The sun is so far north. Of course, it's going to start coming south soon. So. Reached its northernmost point. I think it's going to be a while before these elephants get here. But there's baby hippo, or one of the youngsters. I don't know if it's the new baby. Pretty bright though, with the sun on the water as well. New Jersey. Mark in New Jersey wants to know about the daily routine of hippos. Mark, daytime for hippos pretty much their night time. They don't do much other than stay in the water. They tend to sleep mostly. I mean, now they're a little active because they probably just returned to the water, or maybe not just, but they're going to be going to sleep as the day warms up, and they'll sleep most of the day. There are 2 youngsters in this group. 2 cows, 2 youngsters. Trying to ascertain how old they are. Beautiful slight mist coming off, steam coming off the water. And that other youngster looks like it could be the newer one. Maybe the one that was born at Gowrie Dam recently. Oh, wow. Hippo are active at night, Mark. They come out of the water at night to go feeding. They eat grass only. That sounds like the hippo bull round the bend. No, I don't mean he's round the bend. I mean he's around the bend in the dam. I'm sure he's quite sane. I'm the one that's round the bend. But yes, they come out at night. They can travel quite considerable, considerable distances, especially when it gets very, very dry and grazing isn't very good. They're likely to cover several miles during the night to get enough grass. Coming back to the water to sleep during the day. I can hear the elephants. It wouldn't be nice if a cat came along, like a really big cat. Elliot, morning. Can hippos attack humans and how bad would it be? Yes, they can, and it would be very bad. It would be fatally bad. Hippo are perhaps one of the worst let me rephrase that. One of the most aggressive animals we can encounter is a hippo. It's really strange because they don't really have any natural predators. I mean, maybe every now and then you'd get a lion taking down a hippo or a young hippo. I think it'd been the odd incident. Or maybe hyena taking a youngster. But hippo are pretty formidable in their own right. They've got huge teeth, the bulls. Exceptionally long tusks. And they bite. They're known to bite right through humans. We're very soft creatures. And they're very territorial, they're very protective. Protective over their young. They're one of those animals that attack is the best form of defense. And one never gets between a hippo and its water. But hippo are also known to attack from the water. They're also known to attack on the water. Canoes or boats. I think a lot of people have the image of, what is it, Jim Scarry? What is the Scarry books? S-C-A-R-R-R, S-C-A-R-R-Y, Scarry. Is it Jim Scarry or... There's always a hippo in a tutu or something. Oh, he's fighting in midair. But I think the general impression of hippos, they're very placid, round, slow moving, sleepy animals, and that's not really the case. They can move faster than anything. That's a bit of an exaggeration. They can move extremely fast, and faster than human at least, and they can move exceptionally fast in the water, believe it or not. As bulky as they are, they have the benefit of negative buoyancy, which means that they don't float, which means that with the weight that they still carry in the water, they're able to push off from the bottom and move very, very fast through the water. A big hippo bull coming along, vocalizing, probably because of our presence. I guess the elephants are in no rush to get here though. If they're even coming this way. They looked like they were coming this way. We're not sitting in a great place because the sun's rising and it's getting brighter on the water, so we're getting double sunlight in our eyes. Look at the muscles on the back of his neck. This is a big bull. He's the dominant bull, no doubt. Very, very thick neck muscles carry the weight of his head. He's trying to intimidate the cows and calves. I'm sure that is the new one, the one that's just gone around the corner there, away from him. I'm sure that's the little one that was born. That one there. That's a small hippo. Small enough to have been the one that was born, what's it, about 6 weeks ago? No, not that long. Just over a month, I guess. No, it could be 6 weeks. It was before I went on leave. I was away 2 weeks. I've been back 2 weeks. Okay, I'm going to go look for these elephants. Find out why they're not coming to the water. Because they were facing the dam doesn't mean that they're coming to the dam. You can beat an elephant to the water, but you can't make it drink. No, it doesn't quite go like that, does it? Elliot wants to know how much a hippo weighs. Well, a big bull weigh up to, well, about a ton and a half, 1,500 kilograms. Very, very large bulls, maybe up to 2,000 kilograms. Yeah, the elephants are here. They're 2/3 closer than they were. As far as I know, I think one of the heaviest hippos that was ever weighed was well over 2,500 kilograms, if I'm not mistaken. But that's not that common that a hippo will be that heavy. Are we here? Are we waiting? And they're saying, we're here, we're eating, we don't care. But they're moving this way slowly, and we just have to have a bit of patience. Watch them come through. And she's using her tusk now to as a lever. She holds it with her trunk and then she'll use her tusk to snap it off branches from that small buffalo thorn. Or maybe it's an acacia in the buffalo thorn. I can hear a squirrel shouting. The geese were shouting. Everybody's coming to say hello now. That's a very tender moment there between those two. Greeting with elephant is putting each other's trunk in their mouths, in each other's mouths. Hello, Mrs. Ellie, the young mother. Calling Mark? I left it on the fire break at Gallagher Shortcut. Didn't see anything when I got to Hyena Road. Now they're going to the water. Or near it, past it, to it. Maybe we'd better find a different place. Maybe they're going to go where we were and we'll try and stay here on the northeastern side. No. Seem to be bypassing the dam. Laurie, morning. Wanting to know how hippos nurse. Never seen hippos nursing. I've never seen hippos nursing because they nurse underwater. They might nurse when they're out grazing during the night, while they're grazing. But most of the nursing, a lot of the nursing, well, I guess, you know, we don't see them at night, so that's why I haven't ever seen a hippo nursing out of the water. go between them and the water, and I don't want to go. So we're gonna just stay here for now and see if they come out. Definitely the matriarch. Terry wants to know, if an elephant loses a tusk, will it grow back? No, Terry. The tusks, she's not coming to the water. She's not bringing them to the water. Or if she is, she's going to take them to the other side of the dam. Perhaps. Huh. Interesting. Sorry, me and my hat. There's still this other matriarch. This other female on this side. I'm not gonna go until she goes. But they're gonna drink on the other side of the dam. Here she comes. Come, old girl, we're waiting for you. Catch up. She's gonna. Run to catch up. Terry. Yeah. Oh, there's still another family coming. Another female and calves. Isn't that a pretty girl? So opting to follow the rest of the herd down through the dip and then the other side. Alright, let's go down to the water this side. We'll just zoom in onto them on the other side. Hoping the angle isn't too bad. Very pretty with the reflection in the water. Yeah. Elliot, are they dangerous, and do they run away from a mouse if they see it? I'm just getting back to the... Oh, this is the hippo. Not happy about elephants coming to his water. Or maybe not happy about us here at the water. Look at that. Maybe even better than I expected. If the hippo was still, then we wouldn't get the ripples and we get a really nice reflection. But about tusks growing back. Elephant tusks are the incisor teeth. They are teeth. So they, like any animal, most animals, you lose a tooth, you don't get one back again as an adult. Elephant are an exception as far as their molars are concerned, because they have 6 sets of molars in their lifetime instead of only one set of short, baby teeth and then one set of adult teeth. But as far as their tusks are concerned, as adults, those are their adult teeth. They do have baby tusks called tushes, and they'll lose those at 2 years and then get their adult tusks. That'll continually grow throughout their lifetimes. And if they lose one, if they lose a tusk at the base, they won't get another one, no. But if they break a tusk, it does continue to grow. so the brake will eventually grow out, depending where it's broken, of course. Columbia Entlauf now at Buffelshoek Dam. Be nice to go up onto the dam wall now. Except that spot's now being taken. We could go eBay. Have I ever seen an animal give birth? Tara. No, never seen an animal give birth on parade on safari. Be nice to. And now the water's quite still for a reflection. Elliot was asking about elephants. What was it? Sorry, my brain's in several places at the moment. Baby hippo lying across mom's back. and we'll get there in a minute. Bye bye, Ellies. Maybe catch up with you in a minute or so. Look at that. Water's a little bit too deep for baby. Ashley, how do you tell a male from a female elephant? She thought it was the tusk thing, but they've all got tusks. Ashley, it's more a case of looking at their forehead and, well, to some degree, genitals. There they all go, actually. At the side of the dam, they're still heading back north again. We're going to find them on Buffels or Cutline again soon. The angle of the forehead is an easy way to tell adult males from adult females. There's also just body shape. And whenever there are babies around like this, it's mostly females and youngsters. And then, of course, you've got to tell the difference, if you wanted to, the difference between the young bulls and young cows, young males and females. But as adults, the bulls have a rounded forehead and the cows have a very angular forehead. Tusk size, to some degree, females tend to have very much thinner tusks. Well, it was nice. Let's move on. One of the game drive vehicles has stopped on the other side of the dam for their morning coffee, so we'll leave them in peace and head back to Buffels or Cutline. I think it was Elliot had another question about elephants, and I forgot what it was. Something about elephant being aggressive or something. Elliot. Not Elliot, sorry. Elliot. Are elephants aggressive and are they dangerous? Depends. By nature, not. By nature, elephants are really wonderful, wonderful beings. What humans do to them and their reaction to humans, on the other hand, makes them aggressive, and that can make them dangerous. Competition for space and land, and the fact that humans have this need, we have to grow things, we have to... I just noticed a strangler fig I've never noticed before. I guess, Elliot, just to answer your question, yes, they can be aggressive and they can be very dangerous to us humans because of this conflict between humans and elephants. It's amazing how you can drive an area and look at trees and look at things for 2.5 years now, and I've never seen the strangler fig. Let me show you quickly. Maybe we got to go forward, and you can see the roots. Now, if I've showed, yes, we've seen other strangler figs here on the property, and small ones are only just starting to grow in the fork of trees. This is a strangler fig that's in a leadwood that has been here for some time now, and I'm going to show you the roots. I don't know, maybe we can... I don't know if you can hear me, but I hope you can. But this is the fig, and this is the leadwood. Now this is a fig that's been here for a long time. Elephants have stunted it, elephants have fed on it, so it isn't a very tall tree. The leadwood itself is dead. It was strangled a long time ago already. Maybe it was even dead before the fig even started wrapping itself around the tree. And the fig is now just using the dead leadwood as support until it is big enough to support itself. It's amazing that I've only just noticed that now. And at first I just noticed the fig leaves, and then I noticed it wasn't a freestanding fig, it was a strangler. That's the dead leadwood sticking out up top there. Out of this is a tambuti next to me. Interesting. Elliot, it was the other part of Elliot's question. Are they scared of a mouse? No, Elliot, they don't. They're not. Elephant. It's a myth about elephants being scared of a mouse. So I can't say that I've ever seen an elephant running away from a mouse. And I've seen times when, there's been some giraffe here, but they went that way. Big giraffe. Big bull. I have seen times up in the Timbavati when we've had population explosion of a particular type of rodent that even during the day these gerbils were running around en masse. I mean, there were many of them. But there are squirrels everywhere, and I've never seen why would a squirrel be any different to a mouse? Why would an elephant be scared of a mouse and not a squirrel? And I've often seen elephants feeding with squirrels in the vicinity. So I don't believe for 1 minute that elephants are scared of a mouse. Now, there is the famous program on Discovery, a program not mentioning names, where they tried to debunk the myth or prove it. Only problem is they didn't use a wild elephant, they used a captive bred elephant, and instead of a normal mouse they used a white mouse. And naturally an elephant's going to react to a tiny little moving white thing in the grass. Sorry, it was false test because we don't have white mice in the bush. So I don't believe for 1 minute that elephants are afraid of mice. Jules, do elephants need water once a day, and how much can they drink? Yes, they are very water dependent. How much they can drink? I don't know. It's something like 150 to 200 liters, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not one for figures. I can't remember numbers. Weights and measures and things. But they drink a lot of water. Gallons and gallons. I'm expecting those elephants are probably going to come out here somewhere, but I've just seen tracks of a big male leopard. And it reminded me, I saw something in the distance in a tree. Lily. Hello Lily in Detroit. Do baby elephants hold on to mama's tail, or is it just something they teach them to do in the circus? No, I have seen elephants holding on to the tail of the elephant in front of them. Just going to talk to Abel quickly. Excuse me a moment. Hey, Minjay. Hey. Wat het jy met? Hola, wat doen of? Avonile sus. Avonile nkonzo sha ingo. There's another one coming across there now. On Buffalo's cut line. Madod, I think maybe Yambilu. So I'm just checking here. Is Graham still there? Where are you going to... Do you want to check here? Okay. Any other update? Nothing. Wildebeest? Where? Where? I can't go there. No.
Okay, I'll have to join the guys tomorrow there.
Tandy.
Tandy
Okay.
there.
Bye. Be good. Going up to Nkoro. There's Tandy's up that way. who we know as Saseka, Karula's daughter, one of her first children. She had 2 cubs, 2 females, her first litter. Tingana and Saseka, who everyone else calls Shadow and Tundi, respectively. Other than that, nothing else has been picked up this morning, except our elephant. And well, while we were watching the elephants, there were squirrels and there were some things shouting, and I'm wondering if it wasn't this leopard that came across from Buffalo. It looks like it's a big leopard, could be Yambili Yodan. This is his land. There's a giraffe. A nice big giraffe. It's funny, the big tracks I saw was another bull going north over the boundary. Here's these leopard tracks. But they're not very fresh though. They're not as fresh as I'd like them to be. We're not going to see this giraffe too easily. In fact, I can't see him now. Laura wants to know if Laura in Portugal, are there bats in German? And if so, what kind? Well, Laura, yes, there are bats. Bats in every part of the world. What kind of bats there are? Many different types of bats. Mostly insect-eating bats. There's the giraffe. It's no other way we can see him other than his head sticking up above the trees like that. Can't get to see him. As we get further down towards him, the bush gets very thick. We don't have the large riverine trees that the fruit bats like, so we mostly have insect-eating bats. I have heard in summer once or twice fruit bats, or maybe just passing through. Mostly insect-eating bats, like some of the free-tailed bats, bulldog bats, horseshoe bats. Probably get the Egyptian tomb bat. We get sheath-tailed bats. I'm just trying to think of all the different type of insect-eating bats. I'm guessing we probably get a good dozen odd different species of bats here, or maybe even more. Chiroptera. branch moved in front of the giraffe. Probably there's some squirrels playing. 3 squirrels chasing each other on a tree next to that branch that moved. It could have been them that jumped onto it. He's not moving. Let's move on. Graham, come in. Wow, cut the lead wood. Graham, come in. Yeah, did you pick up any alarm calls while you're having coffee? A big male leopard came across from Buffelshoek Cutline on this road and heads back down to Buffelshoek Dam, east of the dam. Hey Laurie. Laurie's saying she hasn't seen an oxpecker on an elephant. Do they prefer animals with fur? Funny enough, Laurie, I've seen oxpeckers on elephants in East Africa, but never here in South Africa, strangely enough. The elephant were just here, so we must have missed them. They must have headed further east. But there's a leopard here somewhere. No alarm calls. I wonder if he hasn't gone into the middle part of the dam. But no, it's not that they prefer animals with fur, because they do spend a lot of time on rhino and even warthogs. Let's head up here and see if we can't find any. I don't think that leopard went up this way. I think he went to the middle part of the dam. So we'll just I'm gonna make a big loop. That's gonna be a very big loop actually. Goripan to Goripan Road. Elliot, how old is my leopard and how big? I'm not too sure which leopard we're talking about. Maybe you're talking about the leopard whose tracks I'm looking for now. We have many leopards here, Elliot. Many. So maybe if you can send an email and maybe which leopard you want to know about. I hear oxpeckers. They might be oxpeckers for the hippos. there's new leaf growth on this false marula. Fresh leaves. Unusual time of the year to have fresh growth. Oh, okay, Elliot referring to the leopard and I'm tracking. Well, I'm not really tracking it, I'm just looking for tracks. There were tracks on that road where we had the giraffe and then it left the road, and my guess is it's gone in. Buffelshoek Dam is almost like a horseshoe shape, and it's gone into that middle peninsula part. And there is a road, a little track that gets us in there, but I want to just rule out that it didn't come past the dam. I'm thinking that this is a leopard by the name of Yambilo Jordan. He's the father of the cubs that we see, Karula's mate, father of Mission and Duna as well. Didn't come on this road, but then he might have followed that drainage line, which would put him on Nyala Road North. So we'll have to check for tracks there. But gosh, I forget how old Yambilo Jordan is. He's a big leopard. He's a big male. How old he is, I forgot. I'm sure one of our viewers can tell me. Zebra tracks and hyena tracks. Up on our left is another wonderful specimen of strangler fig and leadwood, for those of you who haven't seen this one. And while you're looking at that, I'm just going to have a look for tracks in front of the vehicle quickly. No. If he might still be around the dam, that leopard. So, nice specimen of a fig in that leadwood. And there are a couple of other trees along this road that have young figs. No doubt offspring of that fig growing in trees. Well, let's use the saying, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So, we're going to make our way to that portion of Buffelshoek Dam and poke our nose in some bushes. Maybe what we can do, that might be an idea. Let's go up to Quarry Pan and then onto Cheetah Cut Line. Do a big loop around there. Might be too big a loop. It was a loop I was thinking of doing earlier. It's quite a long loop. Jojo and Joanne saying Yambilu Yodan is thought to be about 7 to 9 years old for Elliot, who was asking how old this leopard is. Thank you, ladies. Sandy, hello. Ever been a case of rabies here at Djuma, and has man intervened? Yes, and yes. Well, there have been outbreaks of rabies here in the Sabi Sand, and yes, the Department of Animal Health and I guess Mpumalanga Parks and the Sabi Sand did intervene, and most predators in the Sabi Sand have been darted. Well, not darted, yeah, well darted. Not darted as in immobilized, but darted with a rabies vaccine. Actually, I think they were immobilized. I know there were pictures from, I forget who it was. One of the guys involved in that program on Facebook. Everybody was thinking that they were hunting these lions, but it wasn't. It was when they were starting to inject them all with an anti-rabies vaccine. Or I think it was a vaccine. A rabies vaccine. So most of our leopards, wild dog, lion, have been given rabies shots. Rabies that comes in from feral dogs from outside the reserve. Very big difference between feral dogs and wild dogs. Feral dogs are domestic dogs that have gone wild, as opposed to wild dogs, which are indigenous wild animals. They are not domestic dogs. They are not even related to domestic dogs. Well, they are only in that they're all dog family. Something moved in that tree. It wasn't a squirrel. Elephant. I wonder if this is our herd. I don't think so. Exactly the opposite direction. A matter of actually trying to get to see this elephant. I think this might be a bull. But definitely not the same elephant. Can't be, because direction is all wrong. Don't want to make a noise. It's not a bull. I don't think. Looking very round like a cow. Can't see it. Can't see her head. Can't see much of it at all. Back. No, there's a cow. There's a calf further back. Let's see. I guess it's a remote possibility that they turned this way. This is also more or less a direction that they would have taken, or rather that they would have come if they had kept in the same line that they were walking originally when they came across from Buffelshoek. I guess there's a remote possibility it could be them. But I think, having had some nice time with elephant this morning, and this isn't a very good sighting, we can't really do much better than this, because well, there's this cow and all I can see is this cow, and there's a calf further beyond her. It's pretty tricky bush to move through. They're trying to turn around now. Lizzie wants to know how we keep the animals contained in the reserve. Lizzie, to some degree, there's no means nest. There's nothing that is needed. And the reserve is so big, the national park, exceptionally huge. Millions and millions of acres worth. But yes, to some degree they are kept within the reserve on the western side of it, where there is human habitation, settlements, villages, agriculture, by an electric fence on the western boundary. I guess the southern and northern too. And the Kruger is bigger than some small countries. See, also, a lot of animals are territorial, and within their territories, they have their own boundaries, and it's not necessarily a physical boundary like a fence or a boundaries to animals' territories are just scent marking on bushes and middens or latrines, rubbing posts, scratching areas. They're very subtle signs that animals create their own boundaries, that they don't need physical boundaries. But obviously, in such a large area, there's so many of a particular species that their territories will back onto each other, and there's always going to be an individual whose territory is on the edge of the reserve, and then that particular individual will have a fence as part of its territorial boundary, because there has to be a fence between the national park and the outside world. But if you think about all the animals within the reserve, away from the fences, most of those animals will never need a physical boundary, because they won't ever get to the edge of the reserve. They will only ever be within their territory. They don't know that there's an end to the reserve. To animals that live in places like that, the whole world to them might as well be one giant big nature reserve. They don't know they don't know about human habitation. They get humans visiting them. I wouldn't know what they think about where the humans come from with their cars. I'm sure on some quantum level there's an awareness of what the world contains. But generally speaking, animals within their territories are not much concerned with what goes on outside their territories. And they're not much concerned with animals of other species moving within their territories. The last of water here at Quarry Pan, going to be dry in a few days' time. It lasted longest that I know of. I don't think we had water this late into June in this little pan last year or the year before. Quarry Pan, named after quarry trees that occur around here. Quarry bushes. Right. Always a big story at this junction. So I'm just going to get out and have a look for tracks. See what's been around. What makes it so good is that there's several roads converging here, and the added benefit of very soft sand keeps tracks quite fresh for some time when there's no wind. And there's a host of tracks. I mean, there's rhino, buffalo, zebra, giraffe, honey badger. There are a number of bird species and a lot of insects that have been moving around. There's been dwarf mongoose, there's been a genet, which is a small nocturnal cat-like creature. And all tracks that are anywhere from relatively fresh to quite a few days old. Cindy's asking if I've ever encountered poachers on a drive and how was it handled. I haven't, Cindy. Not on a drive here at Wild Earth Safari, no. I'm going to have a look at Buffles of Cutline. Is that lorry? Kruger, 7,000. Kruger's 7,000 and something square miles. That's quite big, huh? 7,000 odd, 7,500 odd thousand square miles versus New Jersey. That is about, I didn't realize New Jersey was that big. 8,000 and something square miles. Didn't think New Jersey was as big as that. Clutch is getting funny again. Oh, clunk. I've been asked to find one of these, and it's only now that the leaves are starting to fall and things are changing. This is a little zebra wood, but this little patch of leaf here, a very important little patch of leaves. Not feeling any good seed in this zebra wood though. I'd like to grow zebra wood. So many things are getting. This is the egg mass of the golden orb spider, and if some of you have been with us in summer, you might have remembered seeing those beautiful big, maybe to me it's beautiful, some of you might not agree, but the beautiful big golden orb spiders that spin webs from tree to tree. And this is the egg case. Now inside these leaves is a very dense mass of silk, and it's deep inside that mass of silk where there are a few hundred eggs. And as the leaves die and dry, they collect around the outside of it and they protect it from parasites, from things like ichneumon or braconid wasps that lay their eggs in it. You get some wasps that have a very, very long ovipositor. that can reach into the center of that egg mass. I'm seeing another one on that other zebra wood behind us, behind this. I'm going to be able to see a lot more, a lot more of these egg cases, egg masses, as the leaves are starting to fall. Also a few fresh leaves on that zebra wood, new growth. Can't imagine why there would be new growth this time of year. But as we go into July, we might be seeing some changes because the sun's starting to make its way back. Even if the temperatures are still cold, day length changes, starts getting longer. So I'm wondering where we should go in the last moments of our morning drive back to Buffelshoek. There's been vehicles on Cheetah Cut Line this morning. There are vehicle tracks here. Doesn't mean that there isn't anything to see, because vehicles were here a little while ago. Things can change. I so desperately wanted to get to the western side of the world by now, but no. Because Karula and the cubs, they move around this time of day, more than early morning. But I don't know if we'll make it that far in the time that we have. Hello, Michaela and Grand Kathy. Want to see hyena? Okay. Don't know if we can try and make it there. I don't know if we can. We're quite far from the hyena den. Don't know if you'll be able to join us tomorrow. Maybe try and go to the hyena den tomorrow. Steph, what bird it was? Bother, what bird was it when the vehicle stopped? I don't know, Steph. I can't remember. 3 notes, 3 different. I really can't remember. Can't even think. I'm afraid I wasn't taking notice. Was that when I was out of the vehicle track, looking for tracks, maybe? But still, even then, I can't recall at all what was making a noise at the time, because it didn't register in my head. We're on Central Road. We're making our way west again, back towards the middle of the property. Hence the name Central Road. That's quite a common question. Has an animal ever charged us on this safari? Well, not really. We've had elephant that have got a little bit iffy, and No, I can't really say that we've been charged on safari. That's not to say that other vehicles haven't been charged. I'd like to think that we behave ourselves and that's why we haven't been charged. I have to be honest, some of the guides don't really behave themselves with the animals. They try and get too close, or they drive too fast towards them, or sometimes it's happened. We've had a vehicle from a neighbouring lodge who had a rhino put their horn in the vehicle, and we've had an elephant put its tusk into a vehicle from a vehicle misbehaving. I'm going to have to stop and lubricate the clutch a little bit. Give it some hydraulic fluid. Just hoping to find something that you could look at while I did it, but while I do it. That's not a very long process. Take 2 minutes. Done already. It was a quick one this time. Big rhino was here. But he went the other way. Tomorrow we'll do a rhino mission. Don't move, squirrel, please stay there. Little squirrel's eating a wild cucumber. Even this time of the year there's something to find. This is a particular fruit that the squirrel eats the inside and leaves that hairy outer skin of the cucumber. It's a wild cucumber. Cucumis. Another squirrel in the grasses. There's a lucky squirrel. There's at least another 3 cucumber species that are fruiting at the moment. And there's another one where I noticed the monkeys only eat the skin part of it and they leave all the interior and nothing really eats the inside of that particular cucumber. But this squirrel's going to drop that skin soon. It's not even ripe. See, it's still green. It should be yellow. Other squirrels watching it, wishing that it could get a piece of it.
Let's change the batteries.
And we got to change batteries. Just happened to drop the skin. There's the skin on the grasses there. Let me go fetch it and I'll show you. Actually almost smells like cucumber. The seeds are very... My imagination is the vehicle moving. I guess it must be moving because I'm standing still. It's okay, I guess my toes will stop it. Steel cap boots. Hang on. Always a handbrake. That helps. Anyways, left a little bit of fruit inside there. But it's if you had to cut one of these, the cross section, it would look exactly like the kind of the cucumbers we eat. The seed is identical to the cucumbers that we eat. But this is a very soft. They're not spiny. You get some of the cucumbers that are very, very spiny, very, very hard spines. This is more hairy. Smells. You want to smell? The family of plants known as Cucurbitae, the genus Cucumis. That particular species I think is Zaheri, Cucumis zaheri. Z-E-Y-H-E-R-I-E. Cucumis. C-U-C-U-M-I-S. Creeper. Grows in other plants. We had a question about sick animals. I can't remember who that was from. It'll come to me while I'm talking to it. Cindy came to me because somebody told me in my ear. Cindy wants to know if we come across sick animals, do we do anything? No, we don't, Cindy. What the? Oh. Buffalo sleeping in the grass that I missed because I'm talking. Actually, I can't see him because this grasses is tall. Oh, there. Just make out the top of it. Becky can see him better because there. She's higher. Hello, boys. That buffalo there on the left looks awful lot like Seesaw. Don't think it is though. Can't remember the shape of his horns. There was a buff called Seesaw because he had funny horns. I'm not going to get much more out of buffalo than the back of his head. Cindy was asking about sick animals. Cindy, we can't help animals that are sick because nature has to take its course. It's imperative that it does. If humans have done something to an animal, then it's a different matter. Then we're compelled to do something about it. Like when we find animals, and it doesn't happen often, but occasionally an animal is found with a snare around it from poachers, and then we have to do something. But generally, no. Nature has got to do its own thing. It's important that it. Let's move on. I'll talk while we're driving. But there have to be sick animals, either to feed hungry predators. That's one thing. But the other thing is that if an animal overcomes an illness, it becomes an animal that is important to that species because it can overcome that illness. And then if it breeds, it passes on the gene to overcome that illness. Apart from the fact that it's physically impossible, we're talking about over 7,000 square miles worth of animals. There's no way on earth that you can keep track of every animal. So there, at any one time, are countless animals that are not feeling well in 7,000 square miles, or 7,500 square miles of national park. And that's not only here. I mean, we talk about the rest of Africa where there are wildlife areas. We're talking about probably a couple of 100,000 square miles worth of wildlife. You can't take care of nature. You can't play God. Apart from the fact that humans have only been around for a couple of 100 years, nature's been around for a few million. Nature's been taking care of sick animals for a few million years. What we humans, we just can't, and don't, and shouldn't, and won't. Sorry, and then I start talking and I forget about the next question. And yeah, thought I would remember it, but I didn't. My brain goes on such a tangent. Yeah. I mean, I had it in the back of my mind, Lily's question, to answer as soon as I got through with answering that other question, and then I forgot. But Lily, are there any animals that I dislike, and why? Can't think of anything. Flies can irritate me and mosquitoes can bug me. I guess there are times that I dislike mosquitoes. Why? Because malaria will kill me, and it's irritating trying to sleep and around your head all the time. Flies, not that I dislike them, just they too. Hot summer days, and they get up the nose and in the corner they can become irritating. Other than that, no. I could say that there's some humans that I dislike, but not humans in general. I like humans in general. I am more of an animal person. I do tend to spend more time in the company of animals than I do humans. Especially when I go home on my leave. But nature, no. Nature, I love everything passionately. Look at this little squirrel sitting on a tree, a stump of a branch. It's changed position now. Squirrels are out in force today. Another one poking its head around the fork of a tree. I was making my best impression of an alarm call. I think these are 3 little ones. There's that one and there are 2 others, and I think they're all youngsters. There's one, it's almost upside down here on this marula branch. What it's getting at, I don't know. There's that one in the fork. And there's this little, it's gone. It's upside down underneath this overhanging branch. Okay, bye squirrels. At the moment, I dislike the baboons, but only this particular troop of baboons. The ones that keep breaking into our kitchens and eating all our food and making such a mess. But I don't dislike baboons in general. I like baboons in general. At the moment, it's just this particular moment in time that these particular baboons are in my bad books. But you see it, yeah. Hello, Cindy. And yes, Cindy wants to know about birds. And Cindy, what does bird watching in California? Do we ever focus on birds? We do, Cindy, and we shall. Birds are not as easy as mammals. Because birds are quite shy, and a lot of times I'll see a bird and want to stop and look at it, and as soon as we look at it, it flies away. But now, hello little barbet, are you going to see? As soon as you stop and look at a bird, it flies away. It doesn't even give the camera time to move. There, I had a crested barbet right next to me. Perhaps that was because it was too close. But yes, Cindy, we're nearly at the end of our drive this morning. I'll see if I can find you a bird or two. Nice shot of it. Zoom in on a bird or two before the end of drive. But the next time you're on a drive with us, just send an email to FC to questions@wildearthsafari.tv, where you've just sent this email, and just say Mark birds ! And it'll remind me, and we can stop and look at birds. I know not everybody is interested in birds, but I have to tell you something. The more we stop and look at birds, the more people will get interested in birds, because they are, especially our African birds, there's some really beautiful birds. We're going towards Gari Dam. I'm sure we'll see some birds at Gari Dam on the waders. I heard some kingfishers there this morning. Ooh, Annette, opening up a can of worms there. What are my thoughts on people owning big cats and having people come and pet the cubs for profit and things? Or I think it should be outlawed. I think those people should be quartered and hung. I have no tolerance for people who exploit wildlife like that. There is no place for big cats in human lives. Big cats belong where they belong. They belong in the wild. Big cats do not belong in petting zoos, in circuses, in captivity, being subject to human whim. So many of these poor cats are declawed and drag marks. And these are leopard drag marks. These are not hyena drag marks. Keep a lookout for something in the tree. As for these poor kittens, not kittens, cubs, that are pulled around and dragged around by humans just so that they can take photographs. This is fresh. This leopard killed something recently, and she's dragged it. Could be Karula. She's been dragging this kill almost within the last couple of hours. So where are you, cats? I know it always happens at the end of drive. We find something. Drag marks go all the way up here on Boo Road. Not in this marula tree, not in that marula tree. Becky, you keep an eye out. Oh wait, still on the road, Why she would drag it so far is beyond me. Still on the road. But I'm looking at tracks. Becky can look at the grasses on the side. At the moment we still got these drag marks here. Still got the drag marks. Still up ahead. There, she's still dragging it. There's our leopard dragging its kill. Gosh, that was fresh. Who is that cat? It's a duiker. Must have just killed it. Going off into this thicket. I think I made my point about petting big cats. Ningwe with a bumper at Gary Dam. Everybody's far away. That's why she's dragging it. I'm sure it's Karula, because those tracks were relatively small. And I think she's dragging it to get into this really deep cover. We might be, I don't know if we can, but we might be able to get in there from the top here. There I am, I'm dawdling. If we didn't stop for the squirrels, we would have been right on top of it. But you can't do these ifs, can't do post-mortems on things. Post-mortems. Analysing what ifs. It is as it is. We were lucky enough. If it was 5 seconds later, we would have missed it entirely. So I guess in a way, the timing was perfect. We might be able to get a view through here, but other than wise, really. Did we manage to get a glimpse though?
Yeah.
Good on you. Most of the time we see drag marks with hyena stealing something and dragging it off. It's nice to see. Boy, she's dragged it far. What it could be is she's dragged it because a duiker makes quite a noise when it is killed. Cries like a baby. It's quite dangerous bringing babies. But when babies cry and predators hear it, it can be quite a tense moment. Not gonna make it. I might if I make it a wider turn. There she is. Cleaning itself after the kill. Oh, we're so lucky to be able to get a little gap to be able to see this. Hello, pretty girl. We got a clear shot. Not really. Okay. Let me fix that. Fortunately, a very relaxed cat that my moving around like this is not going to disturb her. game. Now I can't see a thing, but I guess I don't have to see as much as you have to see. Forward or back? Okay, I'll just have to watch on my monitor. It looks like I can just see her tail. The one patch of her tail. And I'm seeing the Dacre just behind her. If it is Karula, I'm sure it's Karula. It means that she might cover it up and go off and find the youngsters. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Not. Quite typically. Seems quite a lot lately. At that moment where it's time for everyone to go to bed. Everybody's eyes are drooping. They've stayed awake. Of course, then there are those on this time zone who are not subject to all of that. But for those of you on the other side of the planet, a little bit of excitement just at the end of drive. Okay, she's getting up to leave the kill, which means she might be going to fetch. Did you see if she carried on walking?
Can't see her anymore. I think she did carry on.
Now, matter of whether we can get out of here and follow her a little bit. Look down the road, maybe she's headed up the road. Maybe not, no tracks. Not yet at any rate. Nope. She might have just moved away from the kill and gone to lie down again. She may have cut down through to the dam. At any rate, I think we were lucky enough to catch that at the end. And we're going to have to call it a day. I'm going to say goodbye. If perchance we see her on our way around the dam, I won't switch everything off just yet, but we'll say goodbye. And if we do manage to catch her, we'll come back again. But for now, a really exciting way to end the morning. And I was so excited to see it was leopard. It was dragging, making those drag marks and not hyena, because that just gets the adrenaline going. Thank you for joining us here on Wild Earth Safari here at Djuma Game Reserve, and thanks for all the questions. Been fun this morning. Had some lovely questions come in. My name is Mark with Becky on camera, and from the guys back in Final Control, Seb and Craig and Sipiwe, all of us here at Wild Earth Safari. Bye everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow, Friday.